Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending. Please give us a moment. We're going to let everybody come into Facebook Live here this afternoon, and get some things into the chat box here so you guys will be up to date on what we are doing today. So please hang tight with us. We're going to let some folks join us here. Okay, hope everybody had a good new year. Looks like everything's going well on the stream here. Feel free, if you guys, anybody who's viewing today, feel free to put your questions, any comments into the chat box. We're going to do our best to make sure that we answer everything that you guys asked today. I apologize, things are running a little bit slow on my end, so I'm going to see if we can make sure that we have a good connection here for us to stream. Please excuse the technical difficulties, running a little slow.
Okay.
All right, I apologize for that. Disconnection. We did get disconnected, but it looks like we're still on live here on Facebook. So I apologize, everybody. I'm going to try to get this sorted out for us. All right, well, unfortunately, we are still live, but unfortunately, I'm having some issues getting access to the chat box so I can make sure everybody gets their links, but we won't delay it anymore. I'll kind of work that out as we move into some of the conversation today. So yes, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's make sure everything looks all right. Okay. All right, so again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Facebook Live virtual community outreach session with the Center for African American Health. My name is Eric Moore. I'm the Director of Advocacy at the Center. Just want to say a few things before we jump into the conversation today. If you need any health insurance coverage, January 15th, 1/5, is the last day to enroll in a plan to receive coverage for this year, 2022. The Center for African American Health is a Connect for Health Colorado enrollment center. We do have certified assisters available to help you pick a plan that meets your specific needs. Feel free, check out the link that we'll have in the chat for more information. Also, please save the date for our 20th annual Collaborative Health Fair, and that takes place on February 12th. I'll have more information about where that is, when it is, and how you can be more involved if you want to do something more than just attend. We have opportunities to volunteer, be an exhibitor, and to sponsor the event. So we'll go ahead and start jumping into this. So for those of you who are not, who may not be familiar with the work of the Center for African American Health, we've been in the community for more than 20 years with a focus and commitment to improving the health and well-being of the African American community. Again, as we move through today's session, please feel free to type your questions in the comment area, and we'll make sure we can address them as time permits. So just want to do a brief introduction. Today, I'm joined by my fellow colleague here at the Center, a Community Resource Navigator, Alan Harmon, and our community partner from one of our favorite partner organizations, the Family Forward Resource Center, is Demetrious Jenkins. We're excited to provide the community, and apologize, everything's going wrong today. I have issues here.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, here we go. It can and will.
Yes, indeed.
Get this back up for us here. I know that we're going to introduce a little bit. So, Alan, I just want to start with you just briefly, tell us a little bit about what you do at the center, and then we'll go to Demetrious and learn a little bit more about what he does at Families Forward. So, Alan, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Eric. My name is Alan Harmon, Community Resource Navigator here at the Center for African American Health. I'm all things parenting education programs. So I do the Strength in Families program, and I also do, just recently started last September, 24/7 Dad Fatherhood program. And just all things about parenting education, how it can help families become stronger units, help them deal with some of those family type issues and things of that nature. And I'm just really enjoying the work and love the work that I'm doing.
Thank you, Alan. And Demetrious, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Families Forward, please.
So yes, welcome. And I just want to say thanks for everybody who's actually listening in on today's discussion. Like Mr. Moore just said, my name is Demetrious Jenkins, currently the Fatherhood Coordinator over at Families Forward Resource Center, which is formerly known as Laurie Family Center for some of you folks that may be listening. At one point, we were located in the Laurie Air Force Base District when that particular area was not as affluent as it is currently. And so we've moved out to the Montbello, far northeast Green Valley Ranch area. And that's currently where we have 2 locations. As the Fatherhood Coordinator, I'm currently responsible for many different aspects of our agency, but there's a couple that I just want to highlight while we have a few minutes today. One being the Barbershop talks, and we'll speak a little bit more in depth in that a little bit later. But we're also responsible for many of the same services Mr. Harmon spoke of, which are the 24/7 Dads, parent education. We also have added a component called the WRAP training, which is the Wellness Recovery Action Plan training, and it really focuses on helping not just Black men, but our men focus on mental health. And so that's one of the other components that I facilitate and bring to the table. But just a little background on where I come from. I spent the past 20 years in the nonprofit as well as the education sector, primarily with Urban Peak, which is a youth homeless shelter, then the Spot, and currently have done a lot of coaching with Manual High School and Montbello High School, which is the Far Northeast Warriors, even though they're under the umbrella, and they have various other schools that actually are allowing student athletes to play for the Far Northeast Warriors, even though they may not attend that school in particular. So that's kind of a small background or history on what I've been doing over the past few years. I do want to also highlight that just in my tenure over the past 2 years as the Fatherhood Coordinator, not only tapping in and working with agencies like the Center for African American Health, we work with agencies that are also doing really good community work. Mackham, Philip Douglas and those folks, Struggle of Love, Joe Hodges, Coach I, the Youth Connection of Denver. And so we've done it. We over the past few years, I feel like we really are doing our diligence to connect with the community and give opportunities for our Black men and our fathers to connect with one another. With that said, I also just want to say, I think earlier we highlighted on a few resources, and I just want to make one quick plug while I do have everyone's attention. 303-386-2915 will provide some immediate utilities and Denver water assistance immediately. And so 303-386-2915, that's utilities and solely Denver water, not Aurora. And then also we have opportunities for folks to get wipes, diapers, etc. So I just wanted to make that quick plug. And that's probably more of an introduction that was needed on my behalf. But that's Mr. Jenkins. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for that. And thank you for providing the background. It's great to know a lot of the, we see a lot of faces in this work. And I think community members recognize a lot of people when they see how many folks have been in this field for so long. And it's great to, let folks know where we come from as far as our experience and some of the things that we're passionate about. And it shows in our work. So thank you so much for summing that up, Demetrious.
Appreciate it.
Something that you did mention, we are going to talk about the Barbershop Talks program today. It was created specifically for Black men in our community. The Shop Talks is a place for men to bond, create meaningful relationships, and to check in on one another during these uncertain times. Gentlemen, before we dive into the conversation today, I just wanted to start with an icebreaker. It is a new year. Something as a goal of the Barbershop Talks is to talk about some of the experience we have bonding with other men. So I'd like for everybody to go around and share a personal experience that they had when it came to bonding with other men, either past or present, maybe some of the impact that might have had on you. And And I'm fine with whoever wants to go first. Alan, I don't know if you would like to share first. I can go as well.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with starting. Barbershop, you know, it's sacred in our community. It's just a place to go and for men to just have conversations, real honest conversations about everything across the board. For me, I haven't been to a barber in I don't know how long, as you can tell, because you know I shave my own head. but the one thing, you know, a good experience for me at barbershop is just, you know, those early like teenage relationships and just going in there and hearing different stories about relationships and how to, you know, manage different situations when it comes to relationships, things you should do, things you shouldn't do along those lines. So it was just really a place to just, you know, look forward to, like Saturday morning, going to the barbershop and listen to, as you know, I was saying back then when I was younger, listen to the old heads just talk and give knowledge and just speak on different things. So, but yeah, it's just always been a sacred place. And, you know, unfortunately, I shave my own head, so I don't get to go experience that anymore. But who knows, maybe one day I'll get back and let somebody else shave my head for me, take a break.
Nice.
Very nice. Demetrious, would you like to share?
Actually, fellas, I do. And I actually want to highlight a particular incident that took place at one of our initial barbershop talks that were taking place prior to COVID. Because prior to COVID, we were actually doing some in-person opportunities at the Montbello barbershops, as well as at one of our local Montbello offices. And so COVID kind of suspended those activities. And so it's great to have Alan and Center for African American Health back on board to help us utilize some space to have, you know, the opportunity to still conduct these meetings, even though we can't do it in a barbershop, because in many of our hoods, the barbershops themselves are really small. And so it's really difficult to really be consistent with that 6 feet of distance. And so by utilizing you guys' space, it's going to be beautiful. But digressing to your initial question, if I could come up with a past or present situation, I really would like to talk about a young man. I'll keep their names disclosed, but part of barbershop talks invites young and old men to converse with one another from various walks of life. And in one particular situation, we had a gentleman. He was there. He heard word of mouth about our program. He was coming there not to get a haircut, to kind of feed and get some feedback from some gentlemen. He was in a position where he was unemployed and had recently had a child. One of the elders, or one of the elder gentlemen who happened to be in the barbershop that day, was talking about some different job opportunities, some different job leads. And one happened to be an electrician, or a journeyman electrician. Long story short, the young man who came in there not for a haircut just happened to be in the barbershop at the time when this other elder gentleman was speaking. They were able to connect, and now this same young man that I'm speaking of is a journeyman and electrician himself. And so those are the type of things why I really highlight and really want folks to come out and join us for these conversations, because that young man may have never crossed paths with that other gentleman, may have never even known what it would look like to, you know, to take that next leap of faith and try to become an electrician. So that's one of mine, man. I really harp on it, and I still talk to both of those gentlemen. And it's really cool to see the way that went down. Really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, you know, anyway, that's amazing. I won't go into that. Just save time. I'll go a little bit into my story. I appreciate both you fellas sharing. For me, you know, when we think barbershop talks, some of it can be just these honest conversations. And, you know, ironically, I do have an actual, you know, moment I remember when in the actual barbershop. So I was raised in Colorado Springs. I went to, for many years when I was a kid, all the way until I graduated high school, moved up here to the Denver metro area. I went to a Black-owned barbershop, and it was great because it gave me an idea of what other Black men in my community were talking about, what they were trying to change in the environment. And particularly the brother who owned the barbershop, he also cut hair there too. And I didn't know for a while that he actually owned the spot until he started talking a lot about the importance of business ownership, and particularly for Black men. And, you know, there was a variety of conversations that came up, and it's outside of just what a lot of people think stereotypically men have in private, like conversations about relationships and things like that. You know, we talked about economics, and, you know, I was there before and after President Obama was elected in 2008. And we had conversations about politics and what we expected in the Black community. We talked about business ownership. We talked about race relations that were local and national. And in particular, something that, you know, made me think more about how I showed up in community was how everybody was sharing about what they thought and how they wanted to actually make some changes. It wasn't just gossip. It was about being constructive, and everybody shared their point, and it was very respectful. And I realized men in particular, we have to be very honest about what we believe in, but still be constructive. It's not something that, particularly a lot of people do come together and they talk about what they believe, but sometimes they use it as an opportunity to be contradictory. I was a contrarian to other people. And in this case, everybody respected each other's opinions. It made me be more honest about how I was speaking to my friends and to speaking Black men that I saw as male role models in my life. So, it was something that was just a big realization. It took me a little while because I was younger, didn't really realize that there was a lot of value in being in a space like that, personally, and also just to know who I was around, what they believed in. So, and I have other, I have other experiences as well that are a little bit more personal, that are still in these talks and not in barbershop settings, but honest conversations I've had with other Black men about family and about how they want to improve some of the socioeconomic conditions that we have mostly up here in Denver Metro. But let's move into the next piece. I know that we did start a little late. We had technical difficulties. So if it's okay with you fellas, we can go over a little bit of our past our 12:30 mark, just because I know that we're not getting into really the meat of it, but let's jump right into the program. And it's fine, whichever one of you guys want to go back and forth. I don't mind who's speaking really, but just want to say, can you guys describe this partnership around the barbershop programs between our two organizations? And whoever would like to take that, feel free.
Well, what I can do is I can probably start off with a little history on the initial connection around the barbershop talks and the fundamentals that created the opportunity for us to have a relationship between Center of African Male and Families Forward. We can tag team from there if that's fine with you, sir.
That works for me.
Okay. So just a couple months back, Families Forward Resource Center itself had another gentleman that was in this position that I currently hold, Mr. Ron Allen, and was doing some work with another gentleman named Troy Grimes, who was at the Center of African American Health. Those two gentlemen had kind of started, I would say, a foundation of trying to create the Park Hill, Montbello, at Families Forward, wanted to reach back out to Center for African American Health and find out who was currently stepping into that role as the fatherhood coordinator, and also someone who was interested in pursuing Harmon. And so within the past few months, I think both of us kind of have
I apologize.
So with that said, with the barbershop talks, it's, again, as Demetrious said, it's a safe place for men to come have conversations. Come have real, open, honest conversations about all things that affect us on a daily basis, whether it's our mental health, whether it's work, whether it's family situations, relationships, financial things, all of those different things and all those topics are things we'll be discussing during the series. And it's just, come have honest, open conversations. It will be respectful conversations, but leading from those conversations, we want, action. We want progress within yourself. We want progress within your families, and all those things strengthen the community as well. So when you have that strong foundation within yourself, then that strong foundation in your family, it just leads to, having a strong community. And that's what some of the things that we need in our community today. So building on those series, those topics, and having conversations, but again, a safe space to just open up and have a conversation, because a lot of times we keep things in and it festers, and then it leads to other, negative situations. So instead of that, come and have a talk, come, speak about things, get some help, get some questions answered, but also provide information and help to other people, give information and advice to other people. That story that Demetrious, not story, but the real life situation that Demetrious, where a gentleman came in and was able to find, an opportunity for employment and a career,
Yes.
Those type of situations. If we come together as men and start with ourselves and have those safe, conversations and work on ourselves, we're able to do so much more with our families and in the community.
And if I can expound, Alan, you said that well. Really, I mean, Barbershop Talks is going to give a lot of us gentlemen an opportunity of resource sharing. If you look in the Black community for many years, as long as we pretty much have been existing in this country, resource sharing is the thing, word of mouth. So a lot of times we can't just rely on social media. We still need to rely on some of those true actual stories, the true face-to-face conversations that we have with another brother, and hold himself or ourselves accountable. Those things are the things that happen in these barbershop talks, and we want to encourage men to continue to come, because you never know what you come and share, how it's going to impact that other brother and put him in a position to expand his horizons, for lack of better words. The other thing I want to talk about is some of the topics we are going to discuss and we have in the past. Some of them are really deep in terms of you may want to stick around a few minutes afterwards, because they may touch you. They may be relevant in the situation that you're currently in, or maybe just maybe have gone through. We're gentlemen, so let's not play. We will discuss some sports. Come on, that's part of it. We'll talk about shows like First 48, how to prevent our guys from continuing to be showing up on First 48. We'll talk about some stats and research regarding how many Black men are in this situation or that situation, whether it's a disparity or whether it's real. We'll be talking about a lot of that stuff, because a lot of times in our community, we don't like to talk amongst another brother about that, because there may be a possibility that gentleman may be in agreement or disagreement, and we don't always work those through. And I think the barbershop talks gives that that environment for that. We'll be talking about healthcare. Center of African American Health sponsors the opportunities for our gentlemen to sign up for healthcare. I mean, that's one thing. Life insurance. There's many things that we'll be discussing in this group, man. And it's good because we'll have, continue to have various ages, different backgrounds. I mean, it's an ample opportunity. We'll provide a meal. We got some gift cards for the gentlemen who show up first. Alan, go ahead. I got excited again for a minute, buddy.
No, it's okay, man. And I feel your excitement and your passion about it. And, that's part of, our connection. We're both passionate about helping community, right? And we have this real strong passion and desire to specifically help our men, right? Because so often we're portrayed in a light that isn't really true. So, but in order to, come together and work on this and just help community, we're just encouraging people just come, have fun. Yes, we will have conversations, but also be fun. There's also opportunity to make some new connections, make some new friends, just know who's who in the community, and just, getting things off our chest as we need to do from time to time. Let's just seriously just come together and have a good time, but also have meaningful conversation.
That's excellent. I think that's, you guys did a great. And first, I want to apologize. I know that we're having some technical difficulties, so hopefully everybody is doing okay on the stream and caught everything these brothers said. I really appreciate you guys getting into the detail about what these conversations will look like, some of the benefits. I think there's some ones that might not be so obvious, like Demetrious, you mentioned effective networking, sharing information and resources that's going to be mutually beneficial, because you'd be surprised. We have tangible assets. There's people with wealth and equipment, buildings, spaces. They have, physical things. There's the intangible as well when it comes to the people and what they can offer as far as just that, there's a lot that we can share with each other and game up each other on. And I think in particular, that's something that folks should feel encouraged about, just engaging in the conversations just for the sake of that, because you never know who you will speak to and what they can provide, and vice versa. There's always an opportunity. So thank you guys so much for mentioning that, because I think that's important. You guys hit up on a lot of the why. I think in particular with Ellen, what you said about mental health, mental health is a big stigma, and particularly for, I would say, of course, I think men in different communities, of course, we have a hard time talking about our mental health or our, mental wellness, doing things that might be for us hard to kind of confront or even to admit that, is important for us. But it is important for us. And I think that that's something that we can't skirt. And particularly in our community, we have a lot of stressors. We have generational trauma, a lot of things that still it's still a burden on how we live our lives and how we show up in our lives for others. So I think it's very important that that's something that we're not afraid to get into these spaces to discuss, because we have to have more breakthroughs when it comes to a lot of the things, even if we're not aware of it. Hearing other people talk about their issues also help you think a lot more about yourself, and you discover more when you're thinking about what other people have also gone through when it comes to their process. So I guess, you guys said a lot on the why. Just want to say, I had a few more questions about like the technical pieces of this. So when it comes to who can attend, this is an in-person event, but who's the ideal audience to attend this program?
There's no age limit to this, right? We want older generation to learn some things from the younger generation, and we also want that younger generation to learn some things from the older generation. So there's no age limit on who can attend this thing. It's for all males in our community to just come and have a safe place to just talk about things and just have discussions. So there's no age limit. And because of the pandemic, and this is in person, we'll definitely have that social distancing thing. Masks will be required during times, except when you're having a meal. And again, as Demetrious said, we'll be having a meal. So come break bread, let's eat and just have conversations. But it's open to all males, any ages. We're not going to eliminate any of the age groups because we want everyone to work together and gain knowledge from one another.
Yes, and I have a sister that says from 2 to 200, we're really open. We're taking young men, old men, seasoned men. We're really looking just for a diverse opportunity for us to share what it is to be a Black man in America, and a Black man even closer locally. We're really going to dive into a lot of good topics, man. Some financial opportunities for gentlemen, job, career opportunities. But I think I want to highlight one other thing, though, before we transgress into some of the other logistical things. Prior to COVID, I ran into a gentleman named he's now a doctor, Brother Halim. He runs a program called the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. And we've really been trying to incorporate that into the mental health component of the Barbershop Talks, specifically because it's the RAP plan itself is a tool that's being created and used to give participants their own autonomy to create what do they do during crises, what do they do during COVID, what do they do during job loss, things of that sort. And so I want to highlight that there's some other components that really will be able to focus on mental health, and then also we can also still refer folks to the mental health component that Center African American Health is offering. But there's going to be some great opportunities. We'll have guest speakers, so I wanted to make sure we include that. Barbershop Talks will not just be Alan and myself sitting in front of you talking the way we are today. We're going to have some other gentlemen to join us, some great guest speakers. We may even have some mothers join us, right, to give their perspective so gentlemen can hear from both sides. So there's a lot of things that's getting ready to happen that we have lined up. We're going to come in every meeting with an agenda, but I do want to make sure that I'm very clear and transparent on this. Alan and I, we already have days and the topics mapped out for the next year. But if a gentleman comes in and wants to talk about whatever it is he's going through, or someone else close to him is going through, we may scrap that and discuss how can we help and build and support that brother in that time of need. So those are some of the things, man. Look forward to it. It's going to be great. Promise you.
That's great. And thank you for hitting those other details around, what this would look like. With guest speakers, it's good to have some folks in there, but make sure that it's something that folks can feel comfortable, having a conversation where they want to. It doesn't feel like it's like a lecture or anything like that. So I'm glad.
Yeah, not that.
Yeah,
we don't have lectures in the barbershop, man.
No, see, exactly. Ever. Yeah.
Well, unless one of them gentlemen get on a tangent, but yeah.
Yeah, and that may happen, very deep conversations, so will be close to a lot of people's hearts. And Demetrious, thanks for mentioning too about using the rap method for mental health. We in particular, we had, I believe, now it's 2022. I believe it was about 3 years ago. We had a facilitator, Shayna Shaw from Compound of Compassion. She used that too as well when it came to talking to youth, and particularly around mental wellness and suicide prevention.
There you go.
Program there. Also with Dr. Jason Schenkel, he was there for the youth component as well. So I realized that's a great method in particular, and I think it's something that's very useful, and it doesn't feel so clinical that I think a lot of us, when we think about behavioral health, mental health services, we think very much the lounge chair and a person with a notepad. So so thank you so much for mentioning that. I guess we can kind of start wrapping up here. I guess we talked about some of the COVID protocols. It is in person. You don't have to be vaccinated. We just require folks to have a mask when they enter the building. I guess, you guys mentioned a little bit about this, but what are some key takeaways you think we should leave folks with when it comes to this program? And you guys kind of hit on some of this,
I'll jump in first here real quick, Alan. I think the biggest takeaway that I really want folks to know is this is a program that's being sponsored by not just two agencies, but by two gentlemen who really care about the communities that they live in, and that our people live in. Our space is an open space. It's a welcoming space. We want all to walk in and come in, break bread with us. The gift cards is just another small piece of it. It's another incentive. But really, what we want is y'all to come help build. Let's look at some things in our communities and the issues in our community, and focus on them in a good, safe way, a positive way, the way we can actually, like Alan said, put some action to those topics and those things that are being discussed and that come up. The other piece that I want to make sure that we include is not only that is it open for all folks to attend. If you kind of look at where we're located, we're going to be located at 3350 Hudson Street there in Park Hill, right by Skyland. Hiawatha Davis. Excuse me, I'm a little telling my age there. That's Skyland is what we used to call it, but Hiawatha Davis there will be right there in that same parking lot. But what we're asking is, gentlemen, we're asking folks who come from Montbello, Green Valley. I don't care where you live. Please come join. Brothers, we want y'all to come. It's a nice, beautiful site. There's plenty of space. Please come join us. Go ahead, Alan. I'm sorry. That's all I want to add.
Don't need to sorry, man. No need to say sorry, man. And just to, put a little bit more, yes, in the Park Hill neighborhood, 3350 Hudson Street, right next to the Boys and Girls Club. Hiawatha Davis is across the street, but same area. Yeah. The big takeaway from this is like, man, seriously, let's just come and talk, right? Too often we don't talk, and the more often we have an opportunity in a safe place to have conversations amongst other men who are going through some of the same things and dealing with some of the same issues that we all deal with from a day-to-day basis. Just come in and just share, have conversation, and just talk, and just, let's have some fun and just some conversations and help one another as we move forward in this life that we live,
Yes, sir.
That's great. I do have some final announcements before we wrap up here. Just want to, talk more about, what kind of advice you two fellows might have for anybody who might be hesitant, to not only be part of the program, but just to have these conversations. We understand the importance that mentors can have on us. And not everybody understands that a mentor shows up in different ways, and that you can be a mentor yourself, just by influencing others. So any advice around that as far as folks who might just be hesitant just to come out and talk,
Yeah, absolutely. Two things. One, you can either reach out to myself or either Demetrious, either by phone or by email, and just have a conversation with us, right? But also you can just show up and just listen. There's no pressure to participate. There's no pressure to, get involved in the conversation that we're having. Sometimes it's just easy just to come and listen and take it, one step at a time, however you feel fit. If you're hesitant to come and be a part of this, but at least come, see what it's about, listen, you may be surprised. And again, it's not going to be anything like serious. We're not there to diagnose you or anything like that. We just really want to have conversation, right? So just come and just listen. And if you have it, if you don't want to come listen, just give us a call, shoot us an email, and we're definitely willing to respond and, have a conversation with you and some dialogue and maybe help you or persuade you to maybe come and have a conversation with us and be a part of the program.
Yes, sir. And if I can add, Alan, well said, my dude. Well said. I really want folks to also know this. We're in a pandemic and we're going through. Folks are saying we're past that point. No, we're in stressful times. Stressful times as Black men in America. We still know that. The big thing about this opportunity is, I know there's a lot of guys that are working. Right, we're working. We have jobs. We have careers. We're doing certain things. But there's something inside of you, your soul. Our ancestors are talking to your soul, where it's like, what else can I do? What else? What's my purpose here besides just working at wherever I'm working, right? Our ancestors are talking to your soul, I'm sure right now as we speak. So it's like your purpose is to show up, to maybe listen, to drop a testimony. Your testimony
just coming to listen and even sharing, it just may help you, right? Just listening and dealing with whatever you may be, struggling with. If you're struggling with something, it just give you that opportunity to just say, okay, I'm not alone in what's going on and what's happening with me right now. So yeah, if you're a little hesitant, it's okay. That's all right. And like Demetrious said, it's okay to just come sit in the seat and listen and hang out. Listen to what other men are talking about and discussing. And again, there's no pressure in these conversations that we're having. It's organic, and we want everybody to know that you're welcome. There's no kind of judgment or anything that's going to happen and take place. We just want to have conversations. We just want to help one another.
And it's just like the barbershop, gentlemen. When you go to the barbershop, hey, sometimes you sit there, you don't say nothing. You get a nice clean cut. You say, what's up? You walk out. They might have talked about the sorry Raiders or anybody. You know what I'm saying? But you sat in the chair. Sat in the chair and had some dialogue. And you may have soaked up some. You may have shared. You may have not. But the big thing about it is it's a safe space, man. It's a great opportunity for you to build and talk to other gentlemen, man. So.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And Demetrious, folks are going to come to you about that Raiders comment now.
Oh, yeah, I know. I can't wait. Please show up.
We'll talk about that. That's perfect. Well, thank you, fellas. I appreciate this. I've been looking since Alan told me that this program was developing. I've been very excited to see this be something that we offer ourselves, and we're glad to do this in partnership with Families Forward Resource Center. So thank you, Demetrious, for your involvement in this. I'll just wrap it up, final announcements. So please visit Family Forward Resource Center's website. I have it in the chat box here so you guys can click it. They're at www.familiesforwardco.com. For any more information, if you like on their programs or services, we're proud partners of them, and we support their work that they've done for communities across Denver, Aurora, and just the metro area in general. Secondly, letting folks remind them to save the date for our 20th annual Collaborative Health Fair. That's on Saturday, February 12th. That's going to be from 8:30 to 3:30 at the Renaissance Denver Central Park Hotel. That's off of 38th and Quebec Street in Northeast Denver. We'll have information about how you can become a volunteer, exhibitor, or sponsor if you choose to. If you have any questions about it, feel free to call us at our office. Our phone number is 303-355-3423. And we also are going to have some more COVID-19 vaccine events. So if you're interested in getting a vaccine, your first 2 shots, a booster, if you need a flu shot still, feel free. We're going to have some information about that on our website and also on our e-newsletter. So visit our website. You can subscribe to our e-newsletter about that. We are confirming some dates for the next, for January and February. So we'll have more information about that if that's something that interests you. So fellas, we're over, but let's say we are out of time. I want to say thank you everybody for joining us. We hope you have a great weekend ahead. This video will be available along with other information on the center's YouTube channel. Thank you again, fellas. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the 18th.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank
now.
you, Eric.
No
Thank you,
doubt. Thanks
Demetrious, as
again.
well.
Y'all have a wonderful day, man.
Yeah, have a blessed weekend.
No
Happy New
doubt.
Year's, everyone.